This happened to me a few months ago. I never talk about it. Even now, just thinking about it makes my chest tighten, like someone's got their fist around my lungs. My life isn't exactly a whirlwind of excitement. One Tuesday morning, I woke up feeling groggy. I padded into the kitchen, flipped on the coffee maker, and noticed the small ceramic picture frame on the windowsill was slightly askew. I shrugged, must have bumped it, and straightened it. A few days later, I was making toast. I reached for the jam in the fridge, and the butter dish, which I always keep on the top shelf, was on the middle one. Did I? I trailed off, moving it back. This pattern continued. A kitchen cabinet door left ajar when I swore I'd closed it tightly. A book on my nightstand, open to a page I hadn't reached yet. The bathroom light on when I was positive I'd turned it off before bed. I started to scrutinize my movements, making mental notes of how things were. I'd take pictures with my phone, quick snapshots of certain areas. But nothing would be definitively wrong, always just asterisk off asterisk enough to be ambiguous. The doubt became a heavy weight. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, convinced I heard a floorboard creak or a distant whisper. My heart would pound, and I'd lie there holding my breath, straining to hear anything else. Then came the morning I found the patch. I'd just gotten out of the shower. I walked into my bedroom, heading for my dresser. That's when I saw it. Lying on my pillow, perfectly centered, was a small, faded piece of fabric. It was a hand-stitched patch, shaped like a tiny, lopsided star. My breath hitched. My entire body went cold. I knew that patch. I hadn't seen it in over 15 years. It was from a quilt my grandmother had made for me when I was a little kid. No one knew about it. No one. My mind raced. How could it be here? I didn't touch it. My eyes darted around the room, but everything looked normal. Someone had been in my house, in my asterisk bedroom asterisk, while I slept. They had been watching me. I grabbed my phone, fingers fumbling. I called the police. An officer arrived, kind and understanding, but found no forced entry, no fingerprints. He bagged the patch as evidence, but without more, there wasn't much they could do. I moved the next month, packed up everything. I live in an apartment now in a different city with deadbolts and motion sensors. I still wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, convinced I hear a floorboard creak. I never found out who it was or why. But sometimes, walking home late, I feel a prickle on the back of my neck. And I wonder if they are still watching. If one day I'll wake up to find another deeply personal item. I bought my house, a small 2-bedroom bungalow, right after I got the promotion. It was a fixer-upper, built in the 50s with creaky floors and a perpetually damp basement. I loved it. My routine was simple. Wake up, coffee, work from home, dinner, a few hours of gaming or reading, then bed. The first thing I noticed wasn't even a thing. It was a asterisk of a thing. I remember specifically buying a carton of oat milk, the good, expensive kind, and putting it in the fridge. A couple of days later, I went to make my coffee, and it was gone, the whole carton. Then came the food wrappers. One Tuesday morning, I emptied the small kitchen trash can. At the bottom, beneath my coffee grounds and a receipt, was a crumpled plastic wrapper from a cheap, artificially flavored fruit bar. I don't eat fruit bars, never have. A week later, another wrapper. This time, it was from a single-serving pack of instant oatmeal, the brown sugar flavor. I hate instant oatmeal. I stood there, holding the wrapper, examining it, feeling it was foreign and didn't belong in my house. I started paying closer attention. The back door, which I always double lock, felt a little looser some mornings. The front porch light, which I usually leave on, was off once or twice. Small things, so small I almost dismissed them entirely, but they accumulated. One Saturday, I was cleaning out the attic. It's a cramped space, accessible only by a pull-down ladder in the hallway. I rarely go up there, usually just to store holiday decorations or old boxes. The air was thick with dust, the smell of old wood and insulation. I was sorting through some old photo albums when I saw it. Tucked away in a dark corner behind a stack of forgotten yearbooks was a sleeping bag. Not one of mine, it was a cheap, dark blue synthetic bag, rolled up tight. Next to it, a small, empty plastic water bottle and a paperback novel, its cover worn from use. My heart didn't just pound, it froze asterisk. My gaze drifted to the novel, a dog-eared copy of some thriller. I picked it up. The pages felt warm, almost like it had recently been read. My fingers trembled, seeing a clear indentation in the dust where someone had been lying and a greasy smudge on the rafters above. The air in the attic, already stale, suddenly felt suffocating. I scrambled down the ladder, my legs like jelly, slamming the attic hatch shut. I stood in the hallway panting, realizing with the force of a physical blow. Someone had been in my house, someone was in my house. I called a friend, Mark. He laughed, asking if I'd been watching too many horror movies. I bought new deadbolts for the attic hatch and installed a small, cheap motion sensor camera in the hallway, pointed at the attic entrance. I told myself it was for peace of mind. That night I didn't sleep, every creak sounding menacing. The next morning the camera showed nothing, but the expensive oat milk I just bought was noticeably lighter, almost half gone. Next to the sink, carefully rinsed, was another cheap instant oatmeal packet, this time maple brown sugar. I didn't open the attic hatch. I haven't opened it since. I just packed a bag and went to a hotel that day, and I haven't been back to my house. I call Mark to check on it sometimes, but I don't ask him to go inside. He thinks I'm having a breakdown. I still pay the mortgage. I see the light on in the kitchen sometimes when I drive by late at night. A faint glow from a window I know I turned off. I wonder if they are still there, or if someone new has moved in, my house no longer mine. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I can still hear the faint creak of floorboards above me, even in this new apartment. Life was pretty normal back then, if a bit hectic. My wife, Sarah, and I both worked demanding jobs, juggling our 2 kids, Ethan and Lily, and trying to keep our old house from falling apart. It's a 3-bedroom ranch built in the 70s, nothing fancy. We'd lived there for 7 years, raised our kids there. It was home. First few things I barely noticed. Just minor annoyances, the kind you shrug off. Keys missing from the hook by the door, only to turn up on the kitchen counter an hour later. My wallet, which I always left on my nightstand, once ended up under the couch in the living room. Then came the doors. I'd swear I closed the basement door all the way, only to walk past it later and find it slightly ajar, maybe an inch or 2. Or the pantry door. Or the kids' bedroom doors, which I knew I'd closed tight after tucking them in. The whispers started subtly. Just a faint murmur like the TV was on low in another room or the wind was playing tricks on the eaves. I'd stop what I was doing, cock my head, try to pinpoint it. Nothing. Just the hum of the fridge, the distant traffic. The chill was more persistent. It was always in the hallway, right outside our bedroom door. A small spot, maybe a 4-foot radius. Even with the heat cranked up in the winter, that spot remained noticeably colder. It was like walking through a cold pocket every single time. Things escalated. My coffee mug, the one I used every morning, would be in the dishwasher when I swore I'd left it on the drying rack. A book I was reading, left on my nightstand, would appear on the living room shelf, spine out, in a completely different section. I started taking pictures of where I left things, just to prove I wasn't crazy. The whispers became a little clearer. Not words, not exactly, but the distinct asterisk sound asterisk of hushed voices. Always when I was alone. In the kitchen, just as I turned my back to the stove. In the shower, muffled by the water. I'd whip around, heart hammering, convinced someone was in the house. Then the games started getting personal. My old high school yearbook, tucked away in a box in the attic, was found open on my desk. Open to a page with a picture of my ex-girlfriend, a girl I hadn't thought about in years, certainly hadn't spoken to Sarah about. I stared at it, a cold dread seeping into my bones. My sanity began to unravel. I was exhausted, constantly checking locks, peering into empty rooms, jumping at every creak of the house. I started sleeping with a baseball bat beside the bed. Sarah noticed. "You're acting weird, Ben. Are you sleeping okay?" she asked one morning, concern etched on her face. The fear wasn't just about things moving anymore. It was the feeling, the constant, suffocating sensation of being watched, of not being alone. I'd walk into a room and feel a sudden, sharp pressure like invisible eyes burning into my back. Sometimes I'd see movement in my peripheral vision, a flicker, a shadow too dark, too fast, but when I turned, there was nothing. One night, I woke up to a distinct, rhythmic scratching sound coming from inside our closet. Not outside, not in the walls. Asterisk inside asterisk. I froze, barely breathing, clutching the bat. It sounded like something was trying to claw its way out. The scratching continued, slow, deliberate, like nails on wood. It wasn't frantic, it was patient. I never opened that closet again, not really. I'd get clothes out, sure, but I never looked in the back, never let my eyes linger. We moved a few months later. Sarah thought I was having a midlife crisis, needed a change of scenery. I let her believe it, but I still check the locks multiple times before bed. I still glance over my shoulder when I'm alone in a room, and sometimes in the dead of night when the house is quiet, I hear a faint whisper from the hallway just at the edge of hearing, and a familiar, inexplicable chill touches my skin. It didn't stay in the old house. It's here, with me, waiting.